Well, hi folks, and welcome to Aberholt Junction. And today we're going nautical. So this is part one of my dock building series. And much like when I constructed the two loops that these Class 37 and the Class 121 are bombing around on, I'm looking for viewer input. I've done an initial plan on how I think the dock should look. I've thought about where the track should be, and I've thought about where my main crane location should be. I should say it's a coal loading dock, and the coal mine, which is up on top of the hill in the background there, is going to come down and then feed the barges and the ships in the dock. So yeah, I'm looking for viewer input, and much like my main loops, I do take all input seriously, and where it's stellar I incorporate it, and I'll give you a shout out on my videos if I incorporate one of your suggestions. So the things I want to look at is the track layout and the options for that, where this crane should be, whether it should be just across the tracks or whether it should also try and span the barges, and also the other ancillary pieces I have. I have dock walls and lighthouses and all sorts of other weird and wonderful things, and I just want to get your take on those and whether I need to modify things. Okay, so first the track layout. There's going to be a coal mine up on a mountain which is going to cover all of these two tracks here, and then the coal mine, which is going to be this Class 37 with a bunch of open coal wagons behind it. It's going to come down the hill behind the station and the retaining wall, the start of the bridge there, which I'm in the process of constructing, the incline. It'll come down into the dock area then, which is this 27mm raised wood section here. Once the Class 121 jumps back into life. Yeah, it's going to come down the hill through a left-hand point and then into, so it's going to go there, through the left-hand point, and the loaded coal wagons then are going to follow this line here where this rubbish coal wagon is, and then into the loading area with the crane. There's also going to be a couple of other cranes here, but they're going to be ancillary. The main coal loading crane is going to be this one. So they'll come in fully laden, and then the coal will get offloaded at that point there. And then my little Janus shunter here then will come in, pick up the empties. So there's going to be a couple of uncoupling locations in this place here. It will bring the empties down to here and then form up the return wagons, which will be empty, to go back up the hill with the Class 37 at this point here, just prior to the point. So yes, so that's my thinking. I was toying with the idea originally of having another line off to here somewhere, with obviously a more complicated point structure at this point, the left hand point here, to go off to do some loading. In this area here, right at the extremity, the bottom left hand corner of my layout, there's a track plan there to give you some context. This here is going to be where vehicles, road vehicles, come into, and there's going to be some low relief factories here and a vehicle parking area here, and obviously some sort of loading dock between the rails and the vehicles. Anyway, so that's my thinking. I don't know whether there's enough operability in the layout, and if anyone's got any better suggestions, I am more than open to them. I work quite slowly, as anyone who watches this channel will attest to, so there's no crazy rush to get your suggestions in. Over the next couple of weeks will certainly be sufficient. You can tweet me, Instagram me, email me, comment below, which is the best way of doing it, and yeah, let me know your thoughts on what the track layout should be. I've left enough room, just for context, for the Janus shunter and one empty wagon. This is one of my bigger ones. and obviously a buffer stop at the end just to fit in. Yeah, whether I should have 2 wagons just to allow more flexibility, anyway, it's debatable. Let me know what you think down below, guys. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Right, let's move on to this crane and the options for this. Okay, so there's broadly 2 ways, at least that I can think of, to have this crane aligned on the layout. Number 1, and I think it's my preference, would be this one, where the crane spans 1 track for the loaded wagons. Sorry, this track is nowhere near level. It's embarrassing. So that's the one way of doing it, where you span the wagon, the crane picks up the coal and then drops it into the waiting barge, and then you have this pontoon, which obviously I can construct properly out in the channel. The one issue I was thinking about this, and I'd appreciate your comments, is it only just about leaves enough room. Sorry. It only just about leaves enough room for the barge to get through on the outside. So if there was a barge in this area wanting to depart, obviously that's a problem. The other way to do it is like this. Jump cut. Okay, so this is the second way of doing it, whereas you have the loaded wagons this side, and then obviously stick that down properly, and then the crane would swivel. And I am toying with the idea of trying to electrify this or motorize it at some point. The crane would then swivel and load up the barge on the outside like that. The couple of slight issues with this is I don't think it looks as good. And secondly, the ladder for the access way for the crane operator is actually on that side as well. So it's no biggie. I'd have to like construct a little pier or something to get across. Again, it doesn't actually allow for a barge to come on the outside of another one to get through. So it doesn't really fix that problem. But it does, add a little bit of flexibility in terms of operations, I think. But yeah, my preference is number 1. But yeah, let me know what you think for number 2. I think prototypically this might actually also be a bit more prototypical, but as you can see from my layout, I'm not a huge proponent of prototypicalness. I don't mind bending the rules and breaking them. Anyway, so yeah, let me know what you think, guys. That's the crane options. So like a lot of my planning, I first do my work on SCARM on the computer, get it all laid out there. As you can see up in that image over there. And also, if you want to learn about using SCARM, there's another link up there for the video. 20 minutes and you'll be a pro, I guarantee it. Yeah, so I first do it in SCARM, and then I lay it out in practice. I call it track roulette, just basically moving pieces around, showing them in different locations, and how the SCARM then transfers to reality, because it is always slightly different. Don't just rely on a computer design. It's never things are always a bit tighter spaced than you think and all sorts. So yeah, do it in reality like this. It makes a big difference. Yeah, so in terms of design, I had in mind these pieces from any scale models, which includes the barge plus all those pieces you'll see over there. You'll see those in a second. And then I got this as a steal on eBay. I say a steal, I think it was a steal. It was about 30 quid constructed, like this. So that's fairly good, because my skills on these little railings and things would be a nightmare. Anyway, so in terms of sizing things, this elevation here, the 27mm, was because I knew already what sort of walls I'd be putting on these exposed faces. And yeah, so yeah, let me show you these bits and what you think of them and whether I could improve things. I'd appreciate your comments. Cheers. Okay, so apart from my eBay steel crane and my timber, 27mm thick, 40mm wide timber, which came from B&Q, which forms the base of all my dock area. Apart from that, the rest of my Scenics came from any scale models. Link down below if you want to check them out. I would highly recommend them. I've been really pleased with what I've received so far. Yeah, all in, what I'm about to show you was about 40 quid. So that includes this 2 cargo bay dummy barge. Obviously I need to get some tugs at some point to pull this thing and some rope to go between them. Some nice harbour wall there. That's just been blue tacked on just to show what it could look like. I think it looks pretty neat. I also wanted a curved end just as a feature. And this lighthouse, which is, you know, fairly tall. Yeah, there's, in relation to a loco, is probably 3 times the height of a loco. I'm gonna have one there, and I'm gonna have one this side. There's gonna be a cliff face here, which goes up towards the coal mine, which is in this area. So yeah, one either side. I think they look really neat, or certainly, I don't know, certainly one anyway. I was thinking of like sort of entry lights into a harbour. That's a bit of a feature though. Let's give you a scale. There we are. That's the sort of size it is. It's pretty big. Anyway, so the lighthouse, the barge. I then got a canal tunnel entrance. I'm gonna have a small canal tunnel going off just adjacent to the right hand side of that train tunnel, which again is in this cliff face here. I got some steps. These are a couple of quid. Some bits for the slipway. I also got some of these mooring posts, which I'm going to get some rope to go over. They look pretty cool. I went over the top. I got 18 of those. Although, you know, it's a long dock, so maybe that isn't too excessive. I also saw this dinghy, which was again about £1.50, which I thought was a bargain. This is made out of resin, all in the UK apparently, and it looks the business. Some more wall pieces then, and then this pack here forms the harbour pack. It's got an end cap for the end of your pier. It's got a couple of these staircases which are embedded into the walls, which I think are gonna look pretty neat. Obviously I need to look at spacing, but yeah, look at that. That's pretty nice, and I think pretty realistic. It'll add some detail. There's also these little pieces of balsa, which you can use in between the pieces as anti-rubbing posts for the ships as they're in dock. And then the real nice thing, I got this pack, these 2 pieces here, and for love nor money, I was going through the invoice trying to work out what they were, and also why, you know, they almost look like seconds. I was thinking, hang on, this guy's done some really good stuff. Why is he giving me this? And then, in with these pieces, I found this. And it's really neat. So they're seconds. Instead of just, you know, binning them and crushing them and what have you, they send them on to you. And I think I can salvage this. And it's a pretty nice little, you know, run around yacht type boat thing that will look good on my dock. So yeah, really pleased with that. And I think from an environmental perspective, it's great. So yeah, these will all be painted up. That'll be part 2, next video. And so please watch that. Please comment down below what you think, any input you can provide me. I think this stuff is a steal. 40 quid for all that. And as I said, the crane was about 30 quid. So all in with the wood as well, this whole harbour area has probably cost me about 80 quid. Harbour, dock, coal loading area, whatever you want to say. And I think this lighthouse in a traditional red and white type colour is going to look really neat. And I might even try and get an LED. This lid top thing comes off, so I'll get an LED in there and make it look really resplendent. Yeah, thanks for coming, folks. This is, as I said, it's 10 minutes as opposed to 5, so apologies, but this is the planning for my dock area. Please, yeah, provide the comments down below. I really appreciate them, and as I said, I do take them on board. And if you've got some amazing ones, particularly with the track layout in terms of points and being able to shunt all this properly, I'd really appreciate any feedback that you have. Part 2 is going to be getting all this stuff, well, incorporating all your comments first, and then getting all this stuff primed, looking at the business, and getting it onto the walls. Yeah, and that'll probably be in about a month's time. And in the meantime, there'll be a few layout update stuff and a few other bits and bobs that I've got coming your way. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. And if you like it, please give it a like, thumbs up, and if you really liked it, then please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I got over 400 subscribers last week, and yeah, I was chuffed to beans. Very humbling. So I appreciate everything this channel's given me so far. So thanks for coming, guys, and I'll see you again next week on Aberholt Junction, where we go nautical. Ding ding. Thanks for coming, guys. Just a little bit of food for thought as you ponder which one of these great YouTube videos to watch next. Yeah, that's just a rough placement that I've just done over the last couple of minutes, just to show you what it could potentially look like. Obviously, you know, these areas need to be filled in, but yeah, roughly what it could look like with my crane in option 1. Just let you mull that over. Yeah, pretty cool, I think. No steps regard to it, and there's little mooring posts. They're quite neat. And yeah, that's my proposed position for the lighthouse, either there or at this headland here at the end of the cliff. And there's a little canal. Take my coal away. Woo! As well as these big massive barges.